Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from deep profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or bring. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire.
Traders, stop stressing over the S&P 500. Get structured daily outlooks, levels and actionable setups for ES futures, delivered before the market opens, plus weekly insights on crypto, stocks, and commodities. Subscribe today on Substack. Conquer the markets.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Good to see you. Give me 2 seconds here. It looks like there's something wrong with the stream. I want to make sure that we're on the other channels. Okay, it looks like Substack's the only one that's having a little issue. So sorry, guys. Hopefully that it's just an issue on my end. But welcome back. It is time for the S&P Edge. As usual, I'm your host, Ryan Bailey, and we are going to go over the markets today. And today was rollover, and I hate rollover. I just hate it. And anybody who's traded with me for the past 10 years knows I hate it. I hate it across any asset. It's one of the biggest complaints I have with futures, but it's just something we have to suck up and make happen. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about wheat stocks. We're going to talk about crypto. We're going to get all into it today. So before we get started, as usual, if you have not followed me, please do so across all socials, YouTube, Twitter, Substack, and TradingView. I just released some new indicators, so check it out over there too. Ryan Bailey Edge across all social media. It should be super easy for you guys to just go and plug that in. So obviously I'm pretty active on Twitter, as you can tell, and I try to stay active on Substack notes as well. But as you guys know, I'm constantly putting out material on Substack, all good stuff. Every day we got something good coming, whether it's futures, stocks, or crypto, or whatever. I'm always fishing for a good one. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So today is going to be a little different. I put out in the trade plan this morning that I really wasn't going to trade much because I hate rollover. Hate it. And so we're going to talk about why this is so important. A lot of newer traders don't realize how big of a deal this is, and really what is the phenomena of this whole thing. So as soon as we get done with going over a few key elements from the trade plan today, I'm going to roll into it. I'm going to show you December's contract versus March's contract. And we're going to talk about some discrepancies. We're going to talk about the low of the day today, which was a killer level that we've been monitoring on the December contract. It played ridiculously good. And just how insanely different it looks on the new contract. And then I'll talk about the areas that I'm obviously waiting for, new price action to fill in so that I feel confident, taking the levels and giving you guys some solid guidance. So, all right, so let's get right into it now. Let me pull this over. And so, where did I have this at? You know what? Maybe I didn't even save it. So, my apologies. So long story short, I let everybody know that we came into March and that I was really not feeling this, like I really didn't want to trade too much. I apparently did not save that clip here, guys, for whatever reason. It's not here, but this is how it works for me. So when I rolled over last night, this was Monday's price action. This all for me right here is a caution zone. I like to see new structure that takes place wherever the rollover point had started. Okay, so I prefer to see new structure. That way I have brand new price action that I can rely on. For me, I've always noticed that week of rollover, especially the first couple of days, it's just sloppy. It really is. I mean, you've got levels that you think should play and they don't, because we have two contracts running simultaneously, and you'll soon see what I'm talking about when we start comparing, and you'll be like, damn, that is crazy, because I was pretty frustrated this afternoon. Guys in the Discord room got tired of hearing me bitching, I'm sure, but it's for rightfully so. And you'd think after 10 years that I'd be okay with this, but I'm certainly not. So, we essentially had this 90-point range this morning. Actually, this was last night when I rolled over. I put this out for the guys. Hey, listen, just be careful in here. It doesn't mean you can't trade. It just means be cautious, like be very careful what happens in here. This is a big deal, okay? So with that being said, you'll see that we had from 38.40 to 38.92. I had a 90-point range in here where I was really concerned about doing any business. And we actually came all the way up to 68.90. So we filled up a lot of this all the way up into here to give us some new price action to work with today, which is great. Okay. So before we get started, let's just go ahead and talk about the VIX. So we started out the day with VIX. This was our beginning of the day. And this was the beginning of the day, the 17th. We started out at 17.21. For those of you guys know, this has been a big level on VIX. We've been watching for quite some time. And really, this was our main pivot. As you can see, we've gotten above it. We fell, we kind of punched through it a little bit. We fell, tap, fell, tap, fell, tap, tap, fell. This is our big line, guys. If you can't see that just by looking at the chart, open your eyes here. So this is our big one here, guys. And again, we stayed above this today. We kind of just hovered here. This is a 1-hour chart. So you can see this is kind of our day here. We just kind of hovered. And eventually towards the end of the day, when we finally caught the long, this broke to the downside, which gave us some exhaustion on VIX and obviously pushed the indices up. And there was a lot of key levels there. It's just so funny because when I show you where they came from, anyways. So really interesting how this plays into, obviously we have a few things that don't roll over, right? We don't have SPY or SPX, and we don't have VIX, right? And so these are all, they are just what they are. That's what makes stock attractive, or the indices itself attractive. So you have to understand how futures work. They are a derivative. And so there's a carry cost because we continue to roll over all the time. And so there is a carry cost of goods essentially. And that's why you'll notice, and maybe you don't notice, but you will probably after today, you will notice that as price, hang on. There we go. You'll notice that as we get closer and closer to rollover, the prices converge with SPX until they're almost exactly the same. So, and then lo and behold, we'll have a rollover like last night, and we immediately gapped up 70 points. Well, it's not a real gap, right? This is a rollover gap. But what happens is as we get closer to expiration, price converges closer and closer to the actual indice, which is SPX, until it comes time to roll over. This is what a carry cost is, okay? So obviously do a little bit more research into that. I'm not gonna get into all that whole ordeal, but that is one of the things with futures that we do have to deal with indices. It's every 3 months. With crude, it's every month. I think gold is every couple months too. I think gold might be, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a year. I can't remember. Anyways, they all do it. It's just, part of the nature of the beast here. So this was one of the big levels here that we put out first thing this morning. And again, I put out right in the trade plan, like, guys, be careful. I've already said that, like, just be super careful because this is not my favorite time to trade, right? So our very first resistance zone, we had the 68.83 weekly level. We had yesterday's point of control and the weekly VWAP that was sitting right here. This little purple line here. And so I was looking for this area to potentially get a smack, but I knew that we had this 68.91 momentum pivot, right? This was our big daily. As you can see here, it says big leg down, double daily, significant above below 68.91. So essentially, this is the major line that we needed to be aware of. right? So if we pushed above this, we are absolutely going to come up into these higher untested areas. And I actually laid this out in the trade plan, which I'm not going to pull over right this second. But, obviously, as you can see here for the actionable setup, once we play this, if you take a look at the weekly, if this spot smacks and gets a reaction, we like to see this could bring us down significantly and look for continuation below 72. Well, here is the 68.72. We even smacked the back of it at the end of the day today. And so as you can see, this is just a monster area for us to even keep in mind for tomorrow. This is going to be our big make it or break it pivot for above below. As long as we stay below this, we are not going anywhere, guys. That is just how it is. Okay. So please keep an eye on that for tomorrow. And so that's what I got for the trade plan today. Like I said, I exercise caution with everybody today. First day of rollover is usually pretty soft. So what we're going to talk about today, because I've thought about this, and is what I want to show you as far as structure, right? And just how things differ from rollover contracts and looking at SPX and taking it all into account. Okay, so I'm going to be dragging some things down here. Let me pull some of these charts over so that they don't get in the way. Give me 1 second here. Pull this over. Yeah, I like it. Okay, and let me get rid of this. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, so check this out. So here is, I'm going to pull this down too. This looks crazy, but let me go ahead and just hide this stuff here. Ooh. All right, so this is our daily structure for our current month that we're in right now. This is March, okay? Hang on, let me find my dashboard. Here we go. So as you can see right here, we still have not lost on this daily leg up. As you guys know, this was something that we lost on this support on last week. And so this gave us, confirmation that we were looking pretty soft. Well, actually what happened is after we rolled over, let me just go ahead and pull that up. I think we're doing this. I'm doing this out of sequence here. Hang on. Let me go like this. Let me go like this. There you go. Check this out. There we go. All right. So look at the difference in structure here. Okay. So this doesn't even look remotely close. We had lost this daily leg up here, which is one reason that we were sniffing for shorts yesterday, and we came all the way down. Now, here's what I want to show you guys that's absolutely insane. And just keep an eye on this particular area. For those of you guys who have been following along with the trade plans for quite some time, I have been talking about this level right here, this daily level at 67.65 for some time. This is the daily pivot that we had to gain on the way up. Not only that, but we had a weekly at 67.61.75. And if you guys recall, I was super thirsty to buy this spot. Absolutely in love with this spot, wanted everything to do with it. And then, of course, we rolled over today, right? Or at least I did. So you can see how we played the 22 for the downside, brought us into the smack. And just take a look at this structure, okay? Now, let's go ahead and pull over this month, this contract. All right. Sorry, guys. Let's see what we got here. Boom. All right. Now, look at how different this looks. We didn't even sweep this low, right? We haven't even come down. That same daily that we played at 64 or 65, whatever you want to call it, that's all the way down here. Look how much higher we are. We're almost 80 points higher. 80. This is an insane difference in structure, guys. That's why I was telling you, we have to be very, very careful. This price action, all that we had yesterday was complete garbage. Right now, they're playing 2 contracts. So as you can see here, this is not even in the same planet as the other one. And, we were still looking for we played the 65 on the other contract. And we got a very healthy pop, which actually leads me to be slightly bullish. Okay. And looking at this chart, I would be like, I'm kind of in the middle, but check this out. So I'm going to go back to the other month, and then I'm going to show you SPX, and then we'll kind of roll back here. So let me let this pop through. So again, keep in mind, here's what we, keep in mind. Look, again, I'm going to let you guys check this structure out again. Look how insanely different. Just absolutely unbelievable, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this 4 hour over for you guys. Check this out. We played this level absolutely perfect. They came down and played this top down and this weekly. They ended up playing this weekly absolutely perfect. Here's the RTH chart, as you can see, for the 30-minute. They came down, played it, popped up, and actually gave us like, what is that, 65, like almost a 50-point pop off of that spot down there. And this is a fantastic area. I mean, if we were still on this contract, I mean, obviously I would have been insanely long to here, but I would still be looking for potential more upside. Now, we haven't gained anything, right? We're still losing 4-hour support. We're still losing daily support, or have lost. We haven't regained. But this is a massive area. And this is one of the big do or die areas for me that we talked about for quite some time. Not only that, but let's bring this into context with us, guys. So you guys know I love my SPX. I obviously keep it, up all the time, as it is a major guide for us in terms of what direction that we're going to go. So again, look at this difference in structure between the rollover of this month. Let me just go ahead and switch months so that I can pull this down for you guys. Sorry. Every time I change chart books here, it would cover everything up. So I have to move everything and then bring it back over so that you guys can see here. So just to show you here, now I got it. There you go. So look at the entire difference here. This is our current rollover month. This is March. We never lost this leg up. This doesn't even exist on SPX or the other contract. Okay. This was the level that we played at 65. And again, as you can tell, remember me saying how we converge on the other contract? Look, SPX, the difference usually is somewhere around, it's a huge difference. Usually around 40 to 60 point different. For instance, our current price that we closed was at 6,800 and they closed here at 6,848. Okay. Or that was the current price now. So we actually have a 48 point difference. However, if you go back to the December contract, when I talked about how the price converges as they get closer and closer to expiration, if you recall, this level was 67.64. Okay. And on here, it was 67.60. So by the time we're rolling over, we've only got a 4-point spread, if that shows you how things are working. So I wanted to bring this over here so that you guys could see exactly the difference in structure and why rollover can be so tricky and why I warn against this all the time. Okay. So this is one of my least favorite times to trade. So as you can see, guys, we came down and we were really watching this area and they played this daily absolutely perfect, played a nice little retest and brought us up higher. So now what happens now? Well, that's a great question. Okay. So this spot that we came off was really nice. And the spot that we came off of on ES on the previous contract was even better in my opinion. Now, on SPX, they could slide down and play the 37.33 weekly, which would be okay as well, daily, weekly. But we would want to see them immediately get back above 67.60. And you're probably asking, why am I focusing on SPX? Well, for right now, it's the guide until we get some more price action in the ES for the areas that currently in my world are not good, right? So check this out. So I'm going to bring this down just so you can see here. So do you recall what the other one looked like? This is our 4-hour for ES right now for the March contract. We were way down here on the structure wise, right? For ES right now in the March contract, we have not even swept the leg, right? Have not even made a new low, which is insane. And it's an insane difference compared to SPX and ES. And once again, this is why I tell you guys to exercise extreme caution. If you recall on the other contract, we were all the way down past the 50 and 20-day moving average. We were way down here, which gave us a completely different look and feel. So waiting for tomorrow to see where we open will be extremely important. I honestly, this price action right in here for me is okay now that we have created a new layer of actionable price action that was created today, and I'm going to call it post rollover. However, I still have this spot from essentially 90 all the way up to 69.27 that is a no trade zone for me. Okay. So as long as we stay below this area, and now that we have this new price action, I'm interested in potentially doing something. Okay. And I'm also interested in potentially taking trades lower now that we're out of this range. But here comes the tricky part, right? So think about it like this, right? And this is the funny part. I don't have an answer for this, which is kind of difficult. But again, we play the levels and that's what it is. If I take this off, guess what's still down here? And guess what's very much untested? 67, 65, the same daily. It's down here. So if we come down here, does it play again? It's a great question. You know, I mean, and I guess we're going to have to find out. That's why it's important to understand the levels that we played and be cautious when these levels play during rollover and monitor them for when we come back to them. And here's why I say that. So for those of you guys who traded with me yesterday, you know that the 70 or the 72 daily, we hit this daily at the top of the highs and we wrote it down for 70 points, right? Today, we literally opened at it. Okay. So clearly we weren't going to short this level. I mean, that would be crazy. And as you can see, they punched right through it and came to the 91.25. So there's a level that played yesterday. It played really well, right? Phenomenal, actually. But today we're right by it and they went right through it like it wasn't even there. Okay, so really interesting how the discrepancies work for rollover. So I really use SPX as a guide during these times. You could see SPX played really well by essentially, you know, playing the daily and the 4 hour and the whole 9 yards. And I have to say, one of the things I think I'm going to do moving forward is I am more than likely going to, what is happening here? I'm more than likely going to start keeping my old contract open and during rollover and have the new contract open. So I rolled over prematurely myself just so that I could give everybody the trade plans. I noticed that TradingView and Thinkorswim had already rolled over. You know, I use Sierra charts, so it gives me the ability to wait as long as I want. So I rolled over, you know, to basically accommodate everyone. But you can see how much of, I don't want to necessarily call it a liability, but it kind of is, right? So like even check this out. Here we go on the 30-minute time frame. We moved all the way down and they basically just held the lows. They held this from Friday and we pushed right back up. It doesn't even look remotely similar, which is just insane. And again, one of the reasons why I do not love rollover whatsoever. So we have to be very cautious, especially if we move above this 91. We know that this is our big level here this morning. We played it. And so are these levels here untested at 69.08 and 69.12 and ultimately all the way up at 27 and 30? Technically, from a chart perspective, yes. But in my opinion, again, this is my humble opinion, anything above here is suspect, right? And so for me right now, anything under 91 and here is good to go. And I would be slightly cautious as we start to dip below and really just kind of leaning on our 68.05 for above or below. Okay. So now that I've got that out of the way, I'm glad we were able to go over that because I was very frustrated today. I seem to always get frustrated with rollover. It always does it to me. You know, you think one of these days I would stop trading it and go do something else, play some golf or something, but it's cold as shit here. That's why I got a fucking sweatshirt on. So, all right. So, now, let's talk about some other things. Let's just get into it. So we talked about SPX. The next thing we're going to talk about is our weed stocks. Okay, let's get into it. Let me blow this up now that I can have my screen back. I'm not switching chart books so much. Boom. All right, so you guys know that this is a hot topic right now. Trump is in process of doing an executive order potentially, right, to reclassify cannabis from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, which would be huge for the industry. It'd be huge for everybody. I mean, weed has been, it's just the penalties are way too harsh for this shit. So, and this sector has been beaten down to death. I mean, look at this. I mean, this thing, I don't know if 3,000 is real, but they certainly were up around 1,800 and then it got all the way down to like $4 now. I mean, that's just wild, right? And so, as you guys know, we called this out in the in Twitter and in the Discord room, and now I'm looking to take profits around $17. We are currently pushing pretty nice. You know, we already got a smack from this weekly, so my anticipation is we're going to come up here and play this big high loss, where I'll be taking half off. It'll give me 100% return on this, and it will also mean I got a free trade to play with. So, once the trade's paid for, I'll just hold this shit forever. And that's kind of the idea with this. So again, with CGC, same thing, guys. If you guys aren't paying attention to this stuff, you should. We had a nice healthy pullback yesterday. This is another one that has just been beat down. It was up over $500. It came all the way down to less than $1. So I'm in this from $1.25, whatever, $1.22, something like that right here, right in here. And, I'm still looking to take some profits. Actually, I just moved my first target down to 250 from 275, and I'll show you why. And again, I'm trying not to be greedy. It's hard not to be greedy when you see such a large potential. We had this massive wick here at 240, so I'm going to take some profits at 250, which is 25 cents sooner. A lot of times, you guys know they like to sweep these wicks and kind of sell off and get some liquidity. And really, at this point, I'll be up 100% on this as well. So that will be a nice multi-bagger that we can just hold for quite some time. But here comes the real one. This is the real important one. So this is the one that I called out in the trade in the Substack back in August. This has been a big trade for everybody. We bought on the way up the first time. This was Trump's first announcement in August 11th. As you can see, we pushed up. We hit our big monthly resistance here at 53. And I just held this. For me, I'm a big cannabis guy. I'm thinking this sector's been beat. I'll just hold this shit till it's legalized. And as you guys know, I put a tweet out. We were buying the bottom at $3, $3.17. This whole area, got guys that have just loaded up based on my call here. And now we have pushed up something unbelievable. We're up 100% on this already. And I am actually looking to take some profits. I was going to wait until $9, which I'm going to take some here too. But I am actually going to take some right around $7.50. That'll be my 100% mark. And this really has some legs as well. So MSOS, for you guys that don't know, this is the ETF, right? So I'm not good at picking stocks. It's all based on the chart, but especially in a sector where they don't make money. I mean, this is all hype and news related driven here. So I have, it was a safe bet for me to buy the ETF. It's kind of like buying SPY, right? Like you can't keep track of all 500. That's why we have the top 10 weighted, and people usually watch those. But at the end of the day, it's like, unless you really know a lot about the company, it's really hard to be a stock picker. So with that being said, MSOS is the ETF side of it. And that is what I'm looking at here. Again, like I said, I'm going to take some money at 750, which is our weekly leg down. But again, I really want to be greedy. My first target was $9, but now this is going to be my second target, and then 1175. That'll leave me with about 100 shares left, or something, 250 shares left. And then that's my moon bag, and that'll be good. So this is going to be a big deal, guys. If this thing goes, this could really, really, really go. This is a lot of this right here, these cells, this is all tax loss harvesting. So, a lot of people who either sold are they were able to buy back in after they took their loss, because God knows if they've ever bought, they've taken a loss, because this is just horrible. And right now they're either one, they bought here and they're back to break even, or two, they sold and they've gotten back in. So this area here is really, as important as it is, we did spend a year in this vicinity, which is why I'm looking to take some profits in here. But I do truly believe that once we can get some acceptance above this 632 monthly, let me show you on the monthly time frame. I do believe and actually really this was the big level, the 53. Once we can get above this, we've started to really kind of get above this support, and we could really start to push. And all this is tested. So my big level is up here at 944. So that's why I had that, heat-seeking target up there. And that's what it was all about. And as you can see, we did our famous, gained and never tested retest, and we're on our way up, which is super sexy. So I'm looking to see what happens over the next week or so with Trump and his executive orders. And actually, let me pull this over so that you guys can check this out. So like I told, I didn't tell you guys this, but I actually put it in the Substack notes. I just piped in Perplexity into our server, so guys can get news by just querying this up. And so this was one of the things that I asked today. I said, is there any cannabis news on cannabis stocks? They're up big. Perplexity came back and said they're ripping the day on federal headlines. Trump just this morning, he said he's strongly looking to rescheduling cannabis, which obviously is creating a squeeze. And it's going to create a big tax, it'll open up the taxation side of it for these companies right now that are very suppressed from banking issues and tax issues, and they've just got a lot of problems. I mean, for the states, they're allowing them to be legal versus the federal government not being legal. It is such a gray area. And take this from somebody who knows. So I actually was one of the first 5 dispensary owners in Denver in 2011, 2010, 2011, something like that. And it was really difficult because we couldn't put our money anywhere. I actually got hemmed up for putting my cash in my real estate business. We were doing, you couldn't get a bank account anywhere because they don't want your money because it's not federally legal and they're all FDIC. So I was putting my money through my real estate account and they flagged me. They caught me for they called it money laundering, commingling of funds. And they closed my accounts down for 90 days. It was a real problem. And so that is a big thing that this industry has been dealing with for a long, long time. And so this type of thing would really help a lot, just the industry in general. And whether you like it or not, this is a huge revenue source. It's a huge tax source. And so this is something that I believe will be good in general. And I'm a cannabis guy. I don't drink. For me, it's, I did bartending for a decade. So drinking is no bueno. It's like, it's cool if you're into it, whatever. But for me, it is what it is. So that is what's up here. Now, the other thing that we're going to talk about, and we're already 31 minutes into this, and I wanted to talk about some crypto real fast. So got some crypto holders, myself included. Let me just load this up. And I didn't make a post about this, but I did talk about it in the room, which is one of the big perks of being in the room. And guys, if you are a Substack subscriber, hit me up. Like, the Discord room's popping. These guys are making money in there. We're making money. So hit me up. You got to be a Substack subscriber or a course holder. Shoot me a DM. I'll get you in there. And, I do charge $50 to come in the Discord room. It actually just keeps, the freeloaders out. And when people have a little skin in the game, they're a lot more serious, which I like because we have a bunch of real traders in there, which is love. And so we're all in there doing our thing. We don't have a bunch of riffraff. So, but yeah, if you're interested, hit me up, get you in there, get a free trial, check it out. It's awesome. So let's talk about this real quick. And I'm just going to pull up some ETH just so that you guys can see what I was looking at. Hang on, let me find this. And so I put this out in the room, and you'll have to excuse this chart. I actually didn't prep this. This was kind of winging this right now. Okay. So here's the deal. So as you guys know, I bought $2,600 on ETH. I put the post out for Bitcoin. We were talking about the path to 100 grand, which unfortunately has not happened. Will it happen? May or may not. I don't know. We were talking about it looking kind of tedious, which obviously once it started to roll, the indices came down as well, which is not a surprise. It is usually our main lead. So with that being said, just looking at ETH real fast, guys, we had this big monthly down here at 25.13. But really what was the good level was this weekly at 26.27. So I was buying all in here at $2,700, and I actually got flat the majority of my position. And the reason for that was, and I put this in the room for everybody who was in there, we played this perfectly. This was a super great spot, but we came up and we played this monthly at 34.30, which you can see was it was just perfect. Like, look at that smack. Unbelievable, right? And again, can they continue to go higher? Absolutely they can. But more than likely, this may send us down to new lows. When I say new lows, I mean just to play this 25.13 area and try it again. So this was kind of a big deal for people in the room. We have a lot of crypto players in the room, guys. Some of these guys in here are holding super bags. And so we talk Bitcoin a lot, and we talk ETH a lot and some other alts. But as you guys know, I'm a huge proponent of Bitcoin, and I use it as a lead as well. So here we go. So I'll just show you this, and this is the spot that we have been all over down here. I did a post called Path to 100 grand, and it still might happen, right? We played this amazing spot at 80 grand, 8,500 or 8730, excuse me. And they've popped up, and I was really thinking that we could get to like 101,000, right? That was my main priority or my main goal. However, it looks like what they've done just from a quick eye, which is exactly what happened now that I can see it. We've played this weekly structure to the left. They played it absolutely perfect, and they've started to come down, which will more than likely sweep us into new lows at 78,455, kind of the same ordeal. So, this was a great test, and it's funny because I just found it on the stream. So, but anyways, with that being said, can we come lower? Absolutely. But right now, I'm waiting for Bitcoin to get a pump, because right now, as you guys know, I really feel like, well, I don't feel like, I know for sure that, Bitcoin is the lead for the indices. And I'm not saying it affects the indices like, oh, Bitcoin goes down, so the indices have to go down. No, it has nothing to do with that. It is just a risk on asset. And when Bitcoin falls, it is the first to go. Think about it like this. If you guys were an institutional investor, right? Or just say mom and pop for that matter, right? And you're used to trading the SPY or whatever. Your usual deviation of a move is between 1% and 2% is like insane. When we have a 2% day down, people are like losing their fucking mind, right? They're ready to jump off of buildings like, oh my God, we fell 150 points, right? Well, Bitcoin will move 5-10% in a day, right? Which is insane. People just on some sort of like futures or leverage position, as you guys probably know from looking at crypto Twitter, these guys are leverage positions. They're getting wiped out left and right all the time because the moves are so extreme. So for Bitcoin, this is the first thing to basically get whacked. Like, think about it like this. If you held stock and you held crypto and you had to reduce your risk, what are you going to reduce first, more than likely? Well, from an institutional standpoint, and even from a mom and pop standpoint, usually crypto is the first thing to go. And so they cut their crypto positions first, which means, again, Bitcoin leads, right? So as Bitcoin tends to come down, we can usually lean on Bitcoin to kind of guide us for whether we're going to move higher or lower in the indices. And this is something that I look at every single Sunday before the market opens. I'll look and see where Bitcoin's at. If Bitcoin's down 3%, we're probably going to gap down. And if Bitcoin's up 1 or 2% or even flat, well, then, it goes hand in hand. So definitely something for you guys to remember. And again, can this hold here? Yeah, it can. But, one of the big things for me when I noticed that ETH hit this monthly, I didn't even look at Bitcoin. I was like, oh shit, that is a big level. And it moved a lot. Like, I'll just measure this for you. I mean, just to show you how sick our levels were. It's 26%. Right. So, I made basically 20% on this move up. I think I caught it after the hit because I was actually in ETHA. I only had bought in 1 ETH on the physical, but I bought a bunch on ETHA. And so I was able to get out for like plus 20%. But now I'm just chilling. Now we're waiting. And again, the same thing kind of applies for the indices as well. We're sitting here chilling. Everybody's waiting for all-time highs that haven't happened. And so I would love a little crypto pump to give us some lead here and kind of send us in the right direction. So anywho, so that's what we got for today. So I appreciate you guys joining me. We've talked to ES, we talked rollover, we talked about the amazing spot that we played in SPX and the December contract and how goofy the March contract looks. So guys, please be careful tomorrow. I'll just be honest. I didn't have a great day. A lot of people in the room did really well today. I did not do well. I never do on rollover. I don't know. Maybe I just planted a little seed in my brain that said you're not going to do great on rollover, but I didn't. I didn't do great. I actually lost $800 just to let you know. Of course, yesterday I made $1,600, so it is what it is. But it's just one of those things where you just be careful. This is just a really tough time to trade, and if you have to wait a couple days, so be it. It's better than losing money. So anyways, long story short, I hope that you guys are in these weed stocks. I hope this is all playing out for you. We've had a lot of bangers lately. Intel was a good one. Oracle, we caught 24% on before it dumped. Chipotle. I mean, we've gotten so many bangers that I hope you guys are really involved in. And so tomorrow I will be here, same time, same channel. If you have not subscribed to the trade plans before, check out the link in this post. There's 30 days free. All you got to do is sign up and get you guys all squared away. Check out the trade plans. They're love. They're so juicy. As you guys know, I was kind of ranting and raving yesterday trying to figure out why we weren't in the top 10 already. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I will see you in the Discord room later today. And of course, I will see you same time, same channel tomorrow. And the trade plan will be out at 8:30 pre-market. I will see you guys. Have a fantastic evening and cheers.